Joey, we have a new pope.
We do.
And he was apparently
The white smoke is here.
American pope.
American.
America.
He's a White Sox fan.
Body of Christ.
The White Sox need a fucking miracle, so this guy better he better go to that stadium and do
You think
an exorcism.
you think they're gonna start taxing you when you get when you get the host and you go to church? The body of Christ. That'll be $1 extra for tax.
$1 extra.
$1
If it has a little White Sox symbol on it, I'm not eating it.
$1 on the Eucharist. Would you rather eat a Met logo Eucharist or a White Sox logo Eucharist?
Neither. I'm just gonna not go to church.
Not go to church. Yeah, sounds about right. Yeah, we had a new pope, and this was supposed to be the pope that end of days. There's like this conspiracy that there was like not enough plots on a certain wall, and after Pope.
I was trying to look that up. I couldn't really find it.
It was on another podcast. It was, me too. I tried, and I was like, all right, I'm going to cover the bio of this.
Generally, here it goes. There's a pictures of all the popes in somewhere in the Vatican, and there's only space left for one more pope, and this would be the second to last pope. So they're saying that this American pope is potentially the last pope that we'll ever see.
So this pope is supposed to be the last one.
Yeah, because there's one space left. That's what I got from what I saw.
I don't know, man. This is I don't know. I heard that conspiracy on another podcast, and I was like, I don't really buy into that because, there's so many conspiracies out there that claim the end of the world's going to happen, and we're still here. With meteors, climate change, which we touched on a couple of weeks ago. Right. And that the Pope, the Catholic one, like there's been people saying that, the revelation's happening. The revelation's happening. I'm like, well, we're still here. I don't hear no trumpets. I don't see no horses.
If you think about it, like when Rome fell, right? It was kind of the end of the world for people who lived in the Roman Empire, right? It ceased to exist, transitioned into other things, etc. I feel like if somebody ever does make a prophecy, all great civilizations have their peaks and valleys. Like, is the United States going to disappear, or will we be the first? I mean, if you think about China, did they ever really?
We can never say China without doing that.
But right? Did China ever really fall? They've had thousands of years of reign with this communistic way.
They've never fell because they have a wall. No fall because of wall.
Because of wall.
See, walls work.
We build the wall. That's a Broadway thing. We build the wall. Anyway.
So real quick, let me just give the audience just a very simplex thing on why we even have a pope. Because it feels like the pope is more powerful than the president. Mm-hmm. Like that man can go anywhere. He gets this cool car with a box he gets to stay in. This pope actually seems pretty cool. Like he just went out there. He was like, America. He came out and like everybody applauded. Everybody's really worshiping this guy like as if he's a god, which is like totally crazy. Like you're not supposed to do that. It's in the Bible.
American Catholics are just losing it. They're like, finally,
but everyone is
a pope that we don't have to put the subtitles on for.
The pope is worshipped like as if he's a god, which I don't agree with. I have a lot of friends and family that don't agree with why the pope is worshipped. Like these people, when the smoke came out of the chimney and then the Vatican, and they announced
they're supposed to be the closest thing to God, right? Like they're supposed to be, absent from sin. There's all these things that go into,
Let me explain, and then we'll get into. We have a pope because, according to Catholic tradition, he's a spiritual successor to Saint Peter, whom Christians believe was appointed by Jesus as the leader of his followers. The pope serves as the Bishop of Rome and the head of the worldwide Catholic Church, which has over 1 billion members. His role is to provide spiritual guidance, uphold doctrine, and act as an unifying figure for Catholics around the world. Historically, the papacy also developed as a powerful political and cultural institution, especially during the Middle Ages, when popes influenced kings and empires over time. The pope became seen not only as a religious leader, but also as a moral authority on global issues. So that's a nutshell of why we have a pope, and it's been for God knows how many years now. So that's like, because I always wondered, why do we have a pope? And that pretty much narrowed it down. It's based on Jesus, when his time period, appointing one of his apostles pretty much as like, you're going to be the leader when I'm not around, like a lieutenant, you get the generals and your lieutenants, and what you're going to do that. Now, the crazy thing to me is how powerful the Pope is. Now, people, when Moses came down from, I always get the mountains confused. He's Sinai or Calvary, whatever mountain he was on.
Sinai.
Yeah, to get the 10 Commandments, right? When he came down, he got pissed at all the people building a gold statue and worshiping it, literally threw the 10 Commandments at everybody, and went back and got a second set. He got pissed. So essentially, it's like, I know the Pope is the holiness of holies, right? When you meet him, you're supposed to be like, kiss his hand, like
kiss the ring.
I'm not kissing.
That's where I feel like that's where the phrase "kiss the ring"
I'm not kissing the ring, and I'm not kissing your hand. Sorry, like I'll say your holiness, because he's pretty holy. He's like the leader of the Catholic Church. He goes to church probably every day. Yeah. The guy's constantly praying. He's also a gamer, I heard. Can you imagine?
That's crazy.
Like you're playing the Pope and you don't even know it on Call of Duty. Like he shoots you're down, and he's like this on the controller. Like,
you hear a prayer come across the fucking airwaves.
Padre del Figlio del Spirito Santo, amen. What the hell is this guy saying? Like,
you should have wore your shirt today with the
That's right. There's a lot of people that know this now. I almost became a priest.
Yep.
Father Bill.
That
sounds a little weird. Yeah. Father Bill. I think Father Will would have been a little cooler. Yo, Father Will, what up? Amen. I don't know, but you know what? Let's get into.
You became a priest. Every time I'd see you at church, I'd be like this. Yeah. All right.
Makes sense. It did make sense for a time. I don't know. I really had a calling. I felt like I did. I was at church every Sunday. I served 7:00 mass every Sunday, and then they had a schedule for altar servers. So I just made it my point because no one served 7:00 mass, and one of the priests was like, "Yeah, no altar servers are ever here to help." And I was like, "I'll be there, Father." I don't remember which priest said that. It was a long time ago. 38 now. Gray hair.
That's how it happens. That's how other people become priests.
I was never touched, by the way.
He just had to point that out.
I'm gonna put it out.
You gotta put that out there in the ether.
I was never touched. Actually, all the priests that I served mass with were like stand-up people. One of them wrote me this heartfelt card because we had like a really good friendship, and he was going back to India. He was an Indian priest, and his name is Father George, and I won't forget his name. And Father George was a really stand-up guy. We did this big celebration in the auditorium of the school that I went to, and I was like genuinely upset. And he wrote me this. I still have it. I kept it in this like keepsafe. And he was like, I will always remember you and always pray for you when I go back to India. And he was a really good dude. So there's some really legitimate priests out there that uphold the Catholic faith, and they are actually stand-up people.
Your few that who are bad people and this, as the saying goes, like bad people seek positions of power.
Yeah,
because you can manipulate.
You want to name like 3 places where people get into that position or get into that group simply to use it as a way.
Just go through politics, for instance. Like, name me one good politician.
Politics, that's one.
You can't really put somebody off the top of your head and be like, that person is so righteous and they're so good. It's like
name 2 more
in some way
groups or places or things that people use to get to do really bad things.
Yeah.
Name like another 2. We did politics. There's like 2 more that I can think of off the top of my head. One of them, they just changed the name.
I mean, like a school teacher?
Like, yes, school teachers. Not wasn't on my list, but school teachers. People will become school teachers to get surrounded by children, and then wean their way in on their target that they scoped out.
Yeah.
And do crazy things. Now, I was thinking about, and my mom was very, very hesitant to let me join Boy Scouts, which is not called Boy Scouts no more. That's for a different podcast episode. Don't even want to get into that. But Boy Scouts, Mom was very hesitant about making me go, letting me join, because she was like,
hey, think about it.
Camping trips, you're with, guys and
strangers.
Who knows what's going to happen, until my father came on a trip, and we went to all the meetings every Thursday at this church that they had it at. And then my dad met the guys, went on a camping trip with me, and they're like, these guys are stand-up guys. And it was the best experience I ever had as a kid. Like, going camping, learning what I learned. We would never found our way out of Harriman State Park if I didn't go, it wasn't in Boy Scouts. Never got to the top ranks. Eagle Scouts, very hard to get
We'd probably be dead by now, actually, honestly, if you didn't know.
Mapping skills.
Decided to just go out there. There was a quick little second, where we got lost. We just went off trail. We probably shouldn't have, and we were trying to find our way back.
I was like, pull up the map, because I don't have service.
Yeah.
I was like, pull up the map on your phone.
We were almost screwed there. We were all a little nervous, a little sweating.
I figured it out. I will listen, man.
Got us back on track.
Fucking Hawkeye did his thing.
We were like, I think the road is that way. Maybe we just cut through. And Billy's, no. We are not cutting through.
No, dude. You're going off trail over there with rattlesnakes and shit? No way, dude. We're staying on the trail where you could see the ground. But yeah, Boy Scouts, politics, schools, and also, I had another one and I just forgot it. I know Boy Scouts for sure. School.
I don't know. So basically, you're saying you survived the two most vulnerable.
Online, like social media outlets, like Facebook pages and stuff like that. You create a fake page, and,
that's true.
And you can catfish someone, and then you get them to meet because they're gullible. And next thing you know, you're meeting. Boom. They say that they're at this age and they look a certain way, and it's like they put your profile.
I feel like now people know that though. Like if you're meeting somebody on the internet, you're like, there's probably like more than a 50-50 chance I'm getting catfished right now.
Or you have those people that like literally like sabotage the sabotagers. You seen those people that do that? Like they literally stage everything just to catch the predator, and then they go and meet them and just ruin their lives as they should.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I listen. But let me just give some info, some bio on our new pontiff, the newest pope. So Pope Leo XIV, born Michael Thomas, that's his real name, Michael Thomas Reynolds, made history in 2025, just last week, by becoming the first American-born pope. He was in Boston, Massachusetts in 1968 to devote to his Catholic family of Irish-American heritage. Before entering the priesthood, Reynolds earned degrees in philosophy and theology from Boston College and later studied canon law in Rome. He rose quickly through the ranks of the clergy due to his intellect, compassion, and ability to connect with people from all walks of life, eventually becoming a cardinal and serving as Archbishop of Chicago before being elected to the papacy. So he was from Boston a lot, did a lot of things in Boston, but I guess he ended up becoming a White Sox fan. So,
which is crazy because if you're in Chicago, like most people in Chicago are like Cubs fans.
Well, one of the two socks. He was like white or red. He chose white.
Yeah.
But a lot of people starting to take the red pill and the Red Sox nowadays. Just saying. His election marked a historic turning point for the Catholic Church. For centuries, the role of the Pope had been dominated by European figures, most notably by the Italians. Hey, yo, Jesus, what you doing? You got a deal for me? I got to become the next Pope or what? Huh? What do I got to do? Huh? Hey, that's a lot of Italians, and that's, it's in Rome, so... He has been dominated by Italians most of the time as the first American to assume the role. So Italians were usually the ones, I guess, to get picked or whatever. Although I thought the last Pope was from Argentina.
Yeah, he wasn't.
Wasn't he?
Argentina.
I remember telling Claudio when
he was.
He was like, your Pope's he's from Argentina.
Speaking of which, I don't know if we're going to touch on that. Did you see they made AI videos of him that they used on the news?
Oh, you mean Pope Francis? Yeah, before he passed away?
Before he passed away.
Or he was already dead?
What's with and then people caught it out. They were like, they saw that the hands didn't look right in the video and they were kind of like meshing together. They're like, this is an AI video of the Pope that they're using on the news as actual footage. His hand
gave it away.
Yeah.
His fingers like morphed into like one big finger.
And his face looked different too, like completely different. We were like, that's not, because AI doesn't get it right exactly. They'll change your face, they'll alter it, but it's still somewhat. Some
of them will just, it's spot on, and then the only tells that it's AI is the hands. Mm-hmm. You'll be an extra finger. Some of them are like spot on. But I guess because they were doing it in live motion and trying to integrate it with the actual scenery, that's when...
My question is, why are they using AI footage? Did they not get enough footage of him when he actually gave the speech on Easter?
It's scary, dude.
Or was it even really him? Maybe he was already dead before he gave that speech.
I went to an occasion recently.
And they were like, you know what? We need some better footage that actually looks like him, because...
I went to an occasion recently. Podcast popped up. And how did it pop up, you may ask? It popped up because we were talking about the Pope and the Vatican. So the person that I was next to, they were like, what do you think about the Vatican? I was like, I have a whole bunch of conspiracies about the Vatican and everything else. I'm kind of into that stuff. It's like I kind of talk about things like that weekly. And like, what do you mean? I was like, I have a podcast. I'm like The Strange and Unusual. Hooked. That was it. They started following. They started listening. They're like, I don't know if they listened yet, but that's how I started talking about it. And a lot of people tend to agree with that the Vatican is just as corrupt as the United States of America. Like super corrupt. There's a lot of stuff going on. We don't know why they make the rules they make. We don't even know if they had this Pope pre-selected. And I was dead wrong. I really thought
it's like impossible to get permission to go and look into their archives. Like if you're a journalist, for instance, it's like, why isn't it public information to be able to go and read some texts from, or why don't they have like a compendium of records of what they have down there? It's like they don't want to share it. Like we live in a modern age where you could Xerox everything or take pictures of everything so people can have like a record or a reference to go read ancient texts, but it's like they're hoarding all of it. Well, including all of like Leonardo da Vinci's works. I heard all of that was grabbed up.
I don't doubt. You know, I got something fun to do with you after I read this little bit of information. But the new Pope chose Leo as his papal name in honor of Pope Leo XIII, who led the church during the 19th century and was known for his progressive approach to social issues, including workers' rights and education. By adopting the name Leo, Pope Michael Reynolds signaled his intention to revive and continue the legacy of social justice, reform, engagement with the modern world. His early statements have emphasized unity, transparency, and renewed commitment to addressing contemporary challenges with the church and society at large. So our new Pope, let's see how he does. Because I didn't really like the last Pope too much.
I mean, what do popes really do? They're not making policy.
There was just certain things he did and said, and I just was like, this is kind of making me stray away from my faith the way I used to practice it. I mean, I already strayed away. I disagreed with a lot of things, and there's reasons why I did, and I won't get into them. I mentioned them before. So, it was a couple of things like going to church and stopping the mass right at the beginning. They ask for money, and I was like, what the fuck are we doing? This is the beginning of the mass. We know there's a point in time of every mass where they ask for collections. They give the baskets out, and you give $1 or you give the envelope for the school.
Sometimes they don't even ask. They'll just take like a little break, and it'll be right before you get your Eucharist,
yeah,
and they'll like to play the music, and then the baskets will come out.
Yeah, no, they're doing the Eucharist, and he's making, and like doing all that stuff. They do that, but when I went on an occasion, they literally stopped the mass at the beginning where it's not supposed to stop. Nor, I remember, I almost became a priest. I served a lot of masses. Never in my life have I seen a mass stopped at that point in time to ask for money and donations. So you're going to church to stay holy, which is what, you keep holy and pray and all that fun stuff. And you're stopping the mass right at the beginning to ask for money, which money is the root of all evil. Greed is one of the, 7 deadly sins. You know what I mean? So that just to me is like a little crazy. Leave it to the people to donate. We know churches and priests don't make a lot of money, and they need help. Let the people decide. Don't stop the mass. They're there for a reason. So that kind of like just really started making me...
Just curious to know, how much does the Catholic Church make annually?
That's a real tough question, because
Gotta be in the billions.
You're talking about the Catholic Church as a whole, or individual churches around the United States?
The whole. I mean, you got to think about it like they're still one entity. So, and it's a non-taxable entity, obviously.
Is it non-taxable? Because I had that question popped up at that event, and I was like, I don't really know.
They don't get taxed.
You know what? Let's see.
It's a good question.
Church make a year.
I mean, there's a lot of money floating around. There's got to be some money being kicked back to the Vatican for like
You think they smuggle Eucharist in their trunks? And like, I got 16 boxes.
They fund certain things and studies. They fund studies. They fund like expeditions for certain things, and like, have you watched that movie Evil?
Is it a show or is it a movie?
It's a show.
It's a show. Yeah, the guy who played Luke Cage is.
Yeah, so they have individuals that work for the church that are on payroll that go and investigate certain things. Like whenever there's like a exorcism, there's people that come down there. They got to get paid a salary. You know what I mean? They also got to fly, and the church pays for all that stuff. So there's money floating around.
There's definitely money. Yeah, of course, there's money. Okay, so there's
a lot of money, isn't it?
No, I'm just saying the response is pretty crazy for artificial intelligence. It's kind of what I said. The exact annual income of Catholic Church is difficult to pinpoint. See, I beat ChatGPT. I'm so sharp lately, bro. I'm like bouncing off the wall.
There's got to be some number that they can give.
I knew it, because as a whole, it's just this, and I'm telling you, it's very shady. The government can say we lost
they don't tax them, so like they don't get audited, so we don't even know how much.
The government can say, we don't know where this money went, and the American people can figure out like, you lost $7 trillion somehow, some way. But the Vatican, is stumping AI right now. So the answer that ChatGPT is giving me, the exact annual income of Catholic Church is difficult to pinpoint because it's not a single organization. It's a conglomerate. Did I use that right way?
Conglomerate.
Yeah. Fucking mushrooms, bro. Mushrooms, protein, and fucking waking up at 5 a.m. I'm like, woo! Anyways, it's made up of thousands of this word. Dioceses?
Where is it? At the bottom?
No, right here. What is that? Never seen that word in my life.
Diocese. Like
I've never seen it spelled. I've never seen it spelled.
Yeah.
Diocese. Wow.
There you go.
There you go. I always think of archdiocese. Never seen diocese by itself. Stumped me. All right.
No, I probably haven't seen it either, I'll be honest.
I've never seen that.
It just clicked.
You know what?
Mushrooms.
I need to have 2 more for not registering that right away. So 2 more after this episode. You can throw some down with me if you want.
All right.
Right? Yeah.
A little what's the one?
Lion's mane?
Cordyceps, lion's mane.
Oh, there's some shit going on. You seen this? What I sent you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That could be another whole episode on its own.
Let's do it. I just hope
The Last of Us in real life.
the way it's happening,
might actually be happening.
the way things are going for me, I just fucking make it happen. Give me a zombie apocalypse. Let me just go with the flow.
You're ready, bro.
I'm fucking
you are ready.
I
to
am.
go.
I don't know.
They just give you a sword. People would stay out of your way.
Nah. I don't know. I
Give them a flex. Give the people. Give the
nah.
people what
I'm
they
not
want.
vain. I don't. I'm really not. I'm just happy I'm in shape.
No, you got veins.
They're there. It may
not
make
vain.
me a target. The zombie would be like, straw, drink blood out of vein. I don't know. But anyways, it's made up of dioceses, parishes, charities, schools, and institutions worldwide, each with its own finances.
Right.
All right. So the Vatican itself, the central governing body, because it's its own like fucking city country, has an annual budget of around $300 to $400 million, though it's often a deficit. The United States Catholic Church, one of the wealthiest national branches, because it's America, was estimated to have revenue of 170 to 200 billion annually, including donations, real estate, healthcare systems, schools, and more. And
they're not taxed.
that's in the United States. That's in the United
crazy.
States. So something's going on between the government and the churches.
But where is all this excess? They don't need $200 million. Where is this excess cash go? What is the church doing with it exactly? It doesn't cost that much to build churches.
Last one. This is globally. Worldwide, when you include all Catholic institutions, churches, hospitals, schools, charities, and investments, the total value and income could easily be in the 100 billions, though the exact numbers vary depending on the sources and transparency.
That's insane.
So, like, we got ourselves in the United States, you can know for a fact the government is doing something with the church, the Catholic Church.
Yeah, 100%.
Or maybe they're not, because if you look, time out, hear
They
me
gotta
out.
be in bed with them. You know what I mean? Like one hand washes the other.
Time out. You know why I say that? How many episodes have we done? And we've touched on what faith has been knocked the most besides the Jewish faith. What faith in the last few years has been knocked?
Christianity.
Right.
100%.
So you really think they're in bed with the United States, especially in movie theaters? Certain movies weren't allowed to be in the movie screens because it was kind of in the brink of, on the border of Catholicism, like the Passion of the Christ. Mel Gibson, Hollywood don't like Mel no more. When part 2 comes out,
and Netflix is censoring the movie. Like,
yes, you saw that, right? I saw what I sent you from the other podcast. They censored the beginning of the movie not because of the Catholic faith, though. Because of what was being portrayed and said. Because there's another movie and show that they completely, like a Robin Hood movie. And there's a quote in there that basically says if the governing body is going to do X, Y, and Z, then the people have to rise up. That's paraphrasing.
Yeah.
So they're trying to stop us from thinking. And that's where I wrote on that podcast show's page, a huge thing, because it started happening a lot more during which time period?
They don't want people to have the idea of rising up against the government.
What time period did that start happening more of? Just go back a couple of years. When did that really start happening, that the United States government was like, I'm going to see how far we can take this bullshit and ride the wave so that we can keep them under control? It rhymes with ouchie.
Yeah.
Yeah, they started doing it then, and then people were getting pissed and catching on. They started censoring actual doctors and actual podcasts and actual YouTube pages and social media pages, and then the truth started coming out, and then they were like, okay, no more. Now you don't hear commercials no more, and now it's a thing of the past. You don't have to get your update. You don't have to get this one and all that stuff until they decided to do it again because people woke up.
And about the truth, it's like they make it so difficult to discern what the truth is anymore.
Don't do your own research.
That's
loved
crazy.
That one.
That's
That made me flip the fuck
and granted, some people aren't looking in the right places, and some people don't know how to sift through information. Like, for instance, nutrition. Nutrition is a really complex subject, and when people don't really know how to decipher studies, they'll take certain bits of information, like cherry-picked information, and they'll put out that information on the internet, and now people have this assumption about this one particular food or one particular study
without getting the
big picture, right? And so there's a lot of that going on, and we live more than ever in a time of too much information, and there's a cost, there's a detriment to society at the helm of what too much information means for us.
I think it's very very important that when you get information, keep it in your pocket until you gather more of it, and then can make your own intellectual choice to use what you've gathered to be like, okay, I heard from Joey, I've heard from Nick, I've heard from Billy. They all kind of said the same thing on one thing, but then they all said different things on another part of that subject. Right. Let me look at...
Critically think.
Yes, exactly. Critically think. And the news collectively was at one point legitimately said, don't think for yourself. At one point in time.
Crazy.
Absolutely crazy. Now, there's a lot of rumors. There's a a viewing device that someone made or found and is in the Vatican holding under the Vatican. And we talked about it, right? And I think we've done this before. What do you think? Let's go back to this because we did it. Yes. And someone saw the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. And that's when it was immediately buried under the Vatican.
That would make sense.
Right?
You shouldn't know the future.
Don't know. Well, it's not the future. It's the past.
That'd be cool.
And they saw something.
Just to view the past?
But they hid it. Maybe they saw something about that crucifixion they didn't like.
It's like...
or maybe it was too...
The Indiana Jones device. What was the guy's name?
Dial of Destiny.
The Dial of Destiny.
Yeah. That was interesting take. Kind of similar to what I'm talking about. My question to you is, and I think we've done this before, but I want you to pick two things that you undoubtedly think are buried within the confines of the Vatican City in Rome.
The Ark of the Covenant.
Undoubtedly think that?
Should be. Yeah.
Think so?
It's religious. I mean, maybe it's like at some government base, but they should have the 10 Commandments. Why they don't want to?
But remember, we left off. We don't know where they are.
This is true.
So who knows? And then second thing, what would you think? Maybe under there. This is all just what if. This dog is really annoying outside, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you hear a dog barking,
trying to join in on the podcast.
Yeah, he's trying to tell us his 15th cousin deceased from Jerusalem is buried in the Vatican. But yeah, let's take a dabble, make second thing. I'm just curious to see what you say.
The Emerald Tablets. Maybe.
The Emerald Tablets.
The Emerald Tablets is kind of a story kind of similar to... the Emerald Tablets is, if people don't know about it, it's like... you ever heard of... where you ever see Harry Potter with the stone that turns everything to gold, or it can bring you back to life?
Got to make a hidden joke to somebody because you just said Harry Potter. Potter. Dumbledore. They're going to get a kick out of that. They hate when I say it like that because it's not Dumbledore. It's like I don't know. Dumbledore. Yeah, they hate that. So when I go Dumbledore, they absolutely hate it. But proceed.
But what is the name of that stone? The Sorcerer's Stone, right? It's about
Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone?
Yeah.
It's like the fourth or fifth book or something like that?
Alchemy? Something like that? Like living forever, right? Mm. Or essentially turning things into gold. But the Emerald Tablets are essentially this thing that has the recipe to eternal life, right?
So it's like a Lazarus pit.
Yeah. Mm. So, I mean, why wouldn't they have something like that?
I mean...
It's like a I don't know if they're emerald or if they're some other kind of made from some other kind of material.
It's just interesting. And where's this? Where's
All
the
these
emerald?
things in mythology, like they existed at
Where,
one point in time.
Where were the emerald? Because I'm not privy to it. Where were the emerald?
Egypt.
Egypt?
In the time of like Thoth. This is
a real story, or this is like an urban legend?
This is like a real story, or maybe it's like Egyptian,
Wise man's tale?
Egyptian like folklore.
Okay.
It could be. I don't know. I got to do a little bit more research. I just watch stupid videos sometimes on it. I'm like, this is a little interesting. I'm not like too interested where I'm going to dive like completely into it.
I've learned to watch the stupid ones in increments, and I get sent a lot of stupid things. I'm like, yeah, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you could tell nowadays with AI, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
But Emerald Tablets in the Ark of the Covenant, huh? Mm-hmm. I wholeheartedly think
both might date back all the way to Egypt, right? Like,
I think
we
that
talked about
the Egyptian
Ark of the Covenant potentially being a device that's inside
the
of
connection to Egypt and
Yeah.
like Jerusalem and all the Catholicism is substantial because the Egypt's mentioned a lot in the Bible.
right.
I think wholeheartedly the Grail was taken from the Last Supper by the Romans and held on to. So I think somehow, some way, the Grail, even though it's a small little cup, that's not the cup of a carpenter. This one, you have chosen wisely, but behold, the power of the Grail's power can only be used in the confines of the crest. I think something like that.
Okay.
You know that's from, right?
Indiana Jones.
Last Crusade.
Yeah.
The best one.
That was a
Hands
good
down.
one. That was a good one.
That's the best one. Anyways, I think the Grail, for sure. For sure.
You think it's wood, or you think it's like
I don't think it's made out of wood. Okay. Jesus was not a carpenter. He was a stonemason. And this came out, and I was on WFAN talking about this with Boomer and Geo. I've mentioned that before. Somehow, some way, Jesus came up in sports talk radio. I called in. They found my voice and my comments interesting.
I wonder if you knew like the secrets of like
So
polygonal masonry.
So we'll
All
check it
those
out.
Crazy like interconnected blocks.
I guess at
we
that
see.
time, or where he was, living, Jesus of Nazareth, right? There wasn't a lot of horticulture life, so they say that he wasn't really a carpenter. He was more of a stonemason, and that's what's been taught in recent years. He's always been in the stories, and we're taught carpenter, but he was more of a stonemason. So if he were to have a chalice, Grail, you can turn stone into bowls if you shape it a certain way, and and there's ways of smoothing it, or maybe not even a rock, but he used some type of clay of some sort. So maybe it wasn't silver or gold or any other mineral or item they could use at the time, especially not wood, but maybe it was like a clay or something that was less expensive. Remember, Jesus was poor. He grew up poor, and he preached that you don't need all that. You just need him and God and prayer. So when he's having his Last Supper, which was what we're taught is bread and wine, which was probably more, but he had probably a chalice that was given to him, and he probably took something that was not eye-catching, or he made his own chalice where he can have this Last Supper, keeping in mind that he knew one of his apostles was going to betray him. So he knew it. When they came, they probably bum rushed everybody, took whatever was there, and the Romans were like, this is probably going to be worth something one day. Should we keep it? And they were probably like, yeah, you should do that. Let's take it back.
Just pass it down.
Take it back to Pontius Pilate. And then he probably got it, and he was like, yeah, throw it in the archives, and then, pass down through history. It's probably sitting in the Vatican right now. Right,
you know what else could be in the Vatican?
A Pope goes down there. It's probably like deep underground, and they're like, "I gotta piss right now. What do I use?" And they just pull out Jesus. That would be really bad.
Where do they keep the Shroud of Turin?
That is a fantastic question. Chat GPT.
I saw Mike's video on it. Did you see it?
Man, the Shroud of Turin.
It's bullshit. It's got to be bullshit.
It is just folklore.
It looks like a modern day.
It's art.
Western view of what Jesus looked like.
We got to get him back on.
He's like, oh, that's a white Jesus, like that can't be real.
I don't think Jesus was white myself, just to be very honest with you.
But the Shroud of Turin does look like the typical pictures of Jesus.
Geographically and culturally, Jesus was definitely not white.
Yeah,
he was definitely had a tan to him. Do I think he was like a Rasta? No, he wasn't. Do I think he was white? No, but he had to be like
Yeah.
Arab looking, you know,
Right,
like he had to be. So I don't think Jesus is white. So if you think I'm one of those people that think Jesus was like a pretty boy with long hair and a beard and just perfect hairline, no.
So long ago, 2,000 years. It's like, what did an anatomically 2,000-year-old Jewish person look like? Because Jesus was Jewish.
Yes, he
Like,
was.
What did they did they look similar to, you know, what Jews look like today, or you know what I mean? Because I mean, there's so many different types of people.
The Shroud of Turin is currently housed in the Cathedral of St. John the Baptist, Duomo di San Giovanni Battista in Turin, Italy. Duomo di San Giovanni Battista in Turin, Italy. Specifically, it's kept in the Chapel of the Holy Shroud, a Borghese-style chapel constructed between 1668 and 1694 to preserve the revered relic. The chapel is adjacent to the cathedral and is connected to the royal parish of Turin. To ensure its preservation, the shroud is stored in climate-controlled, airtight cases filled with intricate gases like argon and oxygen to protect the environment. The protective environment helps prevent chemical changes and deterioration.
And now you know where the money goes, or at least some of it.
Can you imagine they're spending all this money to keep that cloth, and then it just
might
comes
not be
and it's
Jesus's.
not real. They're like, it's just some medieval knight, like they claimed in the beginning. It was like a medieval knight that got covered up, and they were like, "Oh,
What about the cross? You think they have the cross anywhere, or like a piece of the cross somewhere?
I see." Just because of, if my boss ever watched this, he would laugh so hard right now. He would, but what I'm about to say, because of my trait now that I'm learning still, and he would be like, "You're a jackass still." That's what he would say. "You're still a jackass." But I don't think wood would last that long because it was definitely made out of wood. There's no possible way to keep wood that long
Preserved.
For instance, you go to a dock.
Right.
And you see the piers and these wood things that come out of the off the dock, so you can rope a boat to there and stay there, whatever the case may be. The weather, the water, you see how it deteriorates and how it looks. Right. Think back 2,000-3,000 years. That wood's still going to be here?
No, you're right.
No shot. So I do not think the cross is maybe a piece of it, and someone put it in a piece of glass where it's just there's no oxygen getting to it and just can't do anything but stay there. Who knows? But the Vatican definitely has something going on, and for some strange reason, when they got stuff down there, that's number one. They got definitely some intricate.
Watch the Da Vinci Code when they were down where Tom Hanks was, in the fake.
What is that?
In the fake, the fake archives of the Vatican.
I saw bits and pieces of that movie because when that movie came out, my intelligence and attention span was not on the level it's at
good.
now.
You should watch it.
I might be able to watch it now. I can't
watch the first one.
For this, how many are there?
There's a couple. I think there's like 2. I think the first one is kind of like the best one.
Okay. Tom Hanks.
Every story,
is Wilson in it?
Every story is like a different story, but with Tom Hanks in it, and it's essentially the same person going through. It's kind of like fucking Sherlock Holmes, you know, like.
Oh, so he's like a detective.
It's sort of, yeah.
Okay.
So it's good though.
I might check it out. I have to watch all of the Conjuring movies by the time the new one comes out. You know.
After the Tom Hanks Conspiracies, though, I find it like hard to watch Tom Hanks.
I don't watch a lot of Hollywood stuff
I'm just
anymore.
like, is this guy really like a
honestly, bro?
predator?
I've been on a
There's so many crazy conspiracies about him.
I don't watch TV.
And the Island and Epstein.
I have shut off anything that can give me the news on social media. Don't have a personal page. I got rid of Facebook months ago. I have been totally numb to all that shit. I don't want to hear it. Yeah. I've been in a mood where I've already have a lot of stuff going on. You know,
I feel bad for some people though if it's not true and you get like roped into like this conspiracy.
That's why I cut it. I cut it. I don't care.
I'm like, damn. There's so many people that probably just hate you now just because your name was mentioned in the same breath as somebody else.
Don't care anymore about that stuff. I don't have the energy. I put my phone down now like 40 minutes before I fall asleep every night. I used to do this and then fall asleep. I don't do that no more. Because I'm just on this whole new wavelength right now. And I feel so much better when I fall asleep, especially the fact that I have all the news off social media. I don't watch the news.
You're waking up with purpose.
Clarity.
It's just different.
I don't care about anything else except my friends and my family and myself to take care of myself so that I can continue to care about my friends and family. I'm not worried about what trade deal got done with China. I don't care who's running for president.
People, stop.
I don't care
so much. Worry
who's
about
running in 3 years. I don't care unless it affects me immediately. then I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Straight up.
That's how it should be. People get too serious.
But there's a lot of people that care about this new pope. A little too much.
Yeah, it's
which
crazy.
you are committing a sin without even knowing it. And my friend Frank, you met Frank,
Yeah,
came to Sleepy Hollow. He may agree to disagree, but I don't think there should be that much oomph to the Pope.
Right.
Just based off of what I was taught in my Catholic faith. I wasn't even taught too much about the Pope in Catholic school. Honestly speaking, the Pope is the holy. He's like the highest priest. That was it. That's all I can remember. Granted, I was a dumb fuck as a kid, and I probably don't remember everything, but I don't remember them teaching too much about the pontiff. So, who knows? But yeah, that was a good episode, pal.
Yeah.
We touched on the new Pope. We got into some conspiracies. We did at least one Trump impersonation.
We might need to continue the trend.
We were supposed
Maybe
to
it'll get some views.
The dad joke thing every week, Do we have a dad joke before we end?
Today? Man. I might be dad joked out, man.
Yeah, it just
comes out natural.
It's just got to happen. You got to be in that moment, and the joke just has to just flow. It's something stupid,
Yeah.
Yeah. But good episode, Joey. And Memorial Day, just putting this out there before we come to the closings. Memorial Day weekend, either the week of or before, we're going to do a ghost episode. I actually have the script written out for it. Because we haven't done spooky in a while. We're doing all this crazy shit that's happening in the world. Conspiracies. We're going to do a nice ghost episode revolving around Memorial Day weekend.
Nice.
Haunted U.S. history stuff.
Okay.
Got the script already out. I'll send it to you.
Let's go.
Not ChatGPT, by the way. I literally looked at 3 haunted locations online, not using ChatGPT.
That's a
and
lot
I
of
found
work.
3.
People do that still?
People still do it, believe it or not. Nick does whenever he decides to come back again. He's like, I'm going to pop up this one time just to keep my seat.
Nick's like, I got to do my own research. Fuck this ChatGPT.
Nick is, I don't know what Nick is. Nick might be Batman. He just disappeared. And now you're going to just see this jacked up ginger Batman swinging from the... It's not
brought to you by First Form.
We're not. Look, I got the shirt on too. We are not sponsored by First Form. We happen to like them, just so I don't get sued. We're not sponsored, but we happen to like First Form, and so does one of our castmates a lot. Just so you know. And if you want to get sued by First Form, you could do that too by getting your own podcast by using Spotify for Creators. If you don't know about Spotify for Creators, it is the free app that allows you to get your podcast idea
out there.
If you have a phone, tablet, or computer, head over to Spotify for Creators to get started. Joe, summer's coming, buddy.
You're ready. I
am still not ready, and I'm not vain. I like that I'm improving myself. I'm trying to be healthier, to continue living longer. Anything can happen. Like by next week, I can get hit by a car. Now I'm going to be going to heaven like, fuck, this was for nothing. I starved myself for nothing. I ate under 2,000 calories.
That's what getting lean is. Man. It's just eating much, much less all the time. I don't think people realize that.
It is. I am eating less, but I kind of manage it really well, and you get used to it. It takes a while. You get used to it.
You do get used to it.
But can you imagine like 2,000 calories every day for the last 3 months, and some cab driver hits me, and I'm dead. I'm like, I couldn't even enjoy.
That is what it is.
A fucking bag of M&Ms. God damn it. Anyways, Joe,
eat the food.
Yeah, no, you could still have it. But if you have a bag of M&Ms, you have like 10 calories left in the day.
If you have it, manage it.
Manage it, right. He has these really good videos. He's like, hello heroes.
Hey, heroes.
Hello, heroes. I read 16 pages of my book today, and now I'm in the mood to have some protein powder and my chicken cutlets. And
it gets me hyped up. I be watching them. I'm like, damn, I got to do better with my life, man.
And then
I'm not a hero. He makes me. I watched it. I'm like, I'm not a hero.
Can you imagine someone's watching him and he's calling them a hero, and he just got done burying a body? Hello, hero. I'm no hero. But you know what? Good for him, because I'm actually proud of Nick, because if you've seen him and knew him when I knew him, he was a big kid, and he's still keeping that weight off, even though he's not really actively hitting the gym as much because he's got things going on. We joke and kid, but I'm very proud of Nick. Nice. I'm proud of you too, man.
Thanks, man.
Because you're still a stud.
I don't know.
You haven't changed. You're a vampire. You haven't changed. You haven't aged. There's something going on. You're drinking something.
It's in the water.
It's in the water. New York water.
Yeah.
America, baby.
It's those PFOAs.
We got it.
Did you hear that? We have PFOAs in our water. It's not good.
POF.
Forever. Is it PFOAs? Whatever. Anyway, forever chemicals. Basically like Teflon.
Teflon.
Yeah, we're drinking Teflon.
Awesome.
Yep.
Okay.
Say movie with Mark Ruffalo. Is that the Hulk?
Yeah, he's the Hulk.
It's called Dark Water.
Don't like Mark
that
Ruffalo.
movie. No?
You talk about Tom Hanks. If I had to choose who to watch, I watch Tom Hanks.
I watched that.
Mark Ruffalo? No.
But
Sorry.
Dark Water's a good movie.
Dark Waters.
Yeah.
I'll put it on my to-do list.
Yeah.
Never.
It's good like good conspiracy. Yeah, it's a company called DuPont kind of ruined America.
So
basically.
there's a conspiracy. So
Yeah.
after Memorial Day, we have something to talk about.
Yeah,
Once we do ghosts.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get to it.
My man.
Fucking love you, bro. There's been another episode of the Say What Again, Billy podcast.